Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony.
I was waiting. I'm waiting to see my face, and it never came up.
There's your face.
Is going? Now it is here. Yeah. What's going on, people?
And Tony, can you introduce our very special guest?
Sure. The writer and director of the short film, "The Springs County Psycho." We have Chris Stem.
You had to make sure you were pronouncing his name correctly. I see.
Yeah, that's good. Usually, like, I am horrible with names, so at that point in time, it's nice and easy.
I'll be honest
for
with
me.
you, I mistyped it a couple times. I'm like, because I'm old and my eyes stink, so I was like, is that Stern or like what is that?
Oh yeah, that's what I get a lot, Stern.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing, right? Howard Stern, right? So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your short? I watched it today. I'm sure Tony, was it today that you watched it as well?
I watched it. Actually, let me get into it. I actually met Chris at New Jersey Horror Con because it was the first con that I went to in a while, and it was going around doing in the whatever you want to call it, the room with all the vendors and all that stuff. So they had a whole bunch of different tables, and he had one set up and the little TV playing, and he's like, "Oh, this is my short," and started watching a little bit of it, and I'm like, this is definitely up not only my alley, but I know yours, and if Wolfie came on and everything. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I'm part of a podcast if you want to come on and join, and he agreed to it. So
nice. So yeah. So tell us a little bit about the short, like where was the inspiration from? Like where did this story come from? Because you wrote it as well.
So it's actually weird because there is probably about 3 different versions of the story before, and that's not even counting when we shot it, because that's like a 4th version of the story, and then editing it turns it into a 5th version of the story. There is a lot of things that kind of it's weird because the inspiration literally came from one line it's a line from the very end. I just thought I was I don't know if are we doing spoilers or anything?
It's up to you. I mean, so for those that are listening or watching live or listening when this the audio goes up, this is available in a couple of different areas. You can right now it's on YouTube, but you can also go to Amazon Prime and you can rent it for $1 or 99 cents, which would put money back towards future projects, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. I like to have both options because, if someone wants to, get it on Amazon, I mean, there's not much return in that, transparency, but it's still,
it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Any help is help, but I still like to have it on YouTube just because I want it to be accessible to anyone. But, yeah, so I won't spoil anything, but basically there's a line at the end that I was just like, it would be really cool if someone said this line in the film. And I've made some other films before, and it's weird because it's this has so far been my best film, but from the smallest idea, it was more just supposed to be like a 5-minute short film where it just gets to the point where he says this, but then the story grew and grew, and that just became such a small part of it that just kind of, changed it. It's weird how, a film from first conception to, actually being finished, how much it changes. But the original inspiration was just,
just one line.
Yeah, just one line.
Where did you hear the line? Do you remember?
Well, it wasn't anything I heard anywhere. It was I was actually watching some mob movies, and like it was, cause so this was actually originally supposed to be like more mob center, but that idea got completely dished, and it has nothing to even do with any type of like mafia or mob or anything. But I was I just thought of it. I was like, man, like I was watching, I forget what movie it was, but I was like, if he said that right there, that would have been really cool. That's actually where I get a lot of inspirations for my films, is like I'm watching films that already exist, and then I kind of think
like a different like way that this could go.
Yeah. And it's a blessing and a curse, because sometimes it makes me like not enjoy films as much, because it makes me feel like, oh, I wish they did this, or I wish they did that. And but I'm learning.
For me, it's more of on the line of, I always think of something that absolutely ridiculous that could happen. You know, like just watching something like, oh, that'd be crazy if you just threw that cat against the wall. Like it has no, like it would just ruin the movie. Like, but I don't know. For some reason, I've been doing that like my whole life. Like I'll be watching like something really dramatic, and I'm like chuckling to myself because I'm thinking like it'd be ridiculous if this happened. You know, like I don't know, but
completely out of the norm.
Oh, totally. I would just ruin everything. But yeah. So the one thing I really liked about the short too is that it's only like it's not even 15 minutes long. It's like 14 and some change, right? And you're able to actually pull off quite a bit within that short period of time, even to the point where you really think you know what's going on, and then there's a twist, and you're like, oh, I was wrong. And it was only a 15-minute thing, and it's like you're able to do that, like really kind of lead me in one direction, and then flip the script on me, and then I was just like, oh wow, that was pretty impressive. You're able. Some people can't do that in a full length feature, you know, and you were able to
that's
15 minutes.
That's exactly what I was going for. Like, as you notice, there's not much dialogue in the script as a full thing or anything, but I was really just going for like very grounded in reality, suspenseful, and a good beginning, middle, and end. And I know I wanted to do a twist, and I wanted to kind of be in control of how that played out. I wanted the audience to feel this way, think that the things are going this way, and then flip that on the side. Like I don't know, it's that's basically what I was going for, just kind of trying to play ping pong with,
you were successful. You were definitely successful with it. So yeah, that's awesome. So is this something that's yeah, I know you said that it was kind of inspired by a mob movie. Like technically, if you expanded on this, you could make it associated with a mob movie. But have you had any ideas about expanding the story and maybe?
Oh yeah, I actually already have a full-fledged idea. I have a full feature film that even if you watch the short film, it would be expanded to a point where that's just one very small part of the film, and you can still get something new from it. That's not going to be in production for a while, because it's something I want a pretty big budget for, because it's a pretty high concept. It basically takes the elements from the short film and turns it into a bigger world, and watching all the stuff surrounding what happened in the film. Like, because you only see 14 minutes of screen time, and it's basically, so it's it's like in the genre of being captive in a basement. So it's, and there's other murders before that, so it can there's a timeline that you can kind of play with and everything. And there's a lot more that you can add to it, but yeah, so there's a full length feature definitely in the works that I want to be. There's another feature film that I'm working on to get ready in the spring, and I want to do that before I do this film, because I want to build a little bit of
experience.
With a full feature film.
Yeah.
With shorts, a lot of the times we usually have more feature lengths on here, but with shorts we've had them on before, and it's always the thing where it's like, can you expand on it, or do you need to, kind of deal? And this kind of fits in both, because at that point in time, I got enough with the story that I don't need a longer version.
And one of the coolest things about this short is that it messes with what you're thinking in a shorter period of time. So if you do expand on it, maybe if this was like almost the beginning, and then it goes from there, kind of deal. But
yeah,
as if there was a story before that, and you were like, oh, we already know what's going on, But sorry, go ahead, Tony.
No, I was just saying, because at that point in time too, I mean, you got a little bit of everything in the short. But then it's like, also, I want to know what happened like beforehand, and course, like what's happening after. So it's like it's a mixture of both, because at this point in time, it's like I got what I needed in it, but I want to see more also. Sometimes it's usually one or the other, but this one actually hit on both fronts.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, with obviously, like I said, the feature wouldn't be done for a while, but when it eventually does, because I'm confident that it will, there's definitely, even someone that in that mindset that enjoyed the short film as it is, there's a lot more, there's more layers to the story added that will give the people that even know that twist at the end like something more to feed off of. So I think that about sums that up.
So how long have you been making movies?
So it really actually started when I was like 9 or 10 years old. Like my mom had this old camera that still used tapes and everything, and then me and my cousins and my sister would make little home movies on there, just messing around, and that eventually turned into me and my best friend making a YouTube account that has like 300 videos of like a bunch of skate videos, a bunch of just short little films that were never taken serious, but just made for fun. And just editing all them videos back when I was like in my early teens, I actually really started enjoying editing. So then when I started learning like editing and like actual films and everything, it was just so cool, like learning about like every little footstep isn't even recorded, in the actual shot. Like there's a Foley artist going around taking steps, adding little sound effects, little subtle like crinkles of wrappers, or like all these little things, like little bits of music that really turn a video into something cinematic, and that conveys emotion and everything. That was always like really cool to me. And I also was always like big into drawing, and then I did comic books when I was younger, so I always liked making stories. And like I tried writing a book when I was younger, and I didn't really have like an end. I just started writing about characters and just never went anywhere. The books never got finished, and then I started just merging all these different talents, and then started making short films. I do a lot of music videos and everything. So
nice. So how many shorts have you made so far?
3. One's kind of in limbo because there's actually it was being filmed right before the pandemic, like because I was kind of making it right off the back of Springs County Psycho, and there's a child actor in it that we couldn't film for a while. The child actor kind of grew up a little bit, and it made it kind of hard to film and everything. So that one's scrapped, but I have 2 official
14-minute movie where the kid's like now he's like able to dunk. But
I have 2 finished short films, like 2 completed that are like up to par with around what I want, like
nice.
What like my style. I have one other one from like right before I started taking it really seriously, that this one I was like serious about, but that's one I don't even want to talk about. The first film before Springs County Psycho, it's called Stalk. It's basically about this guy who has insomnia, and there's this figure following him around, and he has trouble deciphering if it's side effects of his insomnia or an actual person. But I don't even think for whoever's watching, I don't even think I said what Springs County Psycho is about. So I guess I'll give a little description of that. It's basically about a young man who finds himself being held captive in a deranged man's basement, and some bigger truths start to ensue after that. And there's a lot of intensity in it. It's not for everyone. There's a little bit of gore in it. It's actually funny because there's been some live viewings where you see some of the older audiences start walking out once it starts getting a little like hard to watch, which I actually kind of like that because it kind of makes it feel like, okay, people are actually reacting to this, where if it was just a really boring film, then people are just going to stay just because
it's time that they can sit down. Yeah. It's like, especially if you're doing like the film festivals and stuff. Now, you've had it go through some film festivals, and is that the case? Yeah.
Yeah. It's been very successful in the film festival circuit. Even New Jersey Horror Con, where me and Tony met, it won Best New Jersey Film there out of like over 100 films that were playing, I think.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Congrats. That's a big deal. Yeah.
Actually, hold on. Here's the award.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
That's really cool. I kind of want one, but I don't have any movies, so I can't. But that's pretty great. Yeah, that con it seems really cool. One of these days I'll get to it, but it's a long drive for me. But it still looks cool. I mean, maybe once everything hopefully gets back to normal, I can make my way out there. But
definitely, they are fun.
Yeah. So I do have the trailer for the film, and let's watch that. Do you want to introduce it real quick?
What, like the film in general?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the trailer, and tell people where they can see it.
The trailer doesn't show much, which is a good thing because it shows you what you need to see to start feeling like the vibes of the film, but there's nothing better than actually watching the real thing. So this is more just a little teaser more than a trailer, I'd say.
Okay, so here you go. Here's the trailer.
Springs County used to be considered one of the best places to live. Now everybody's scared, everybody's afraid to walk out their doors, and you got this sick freak running around.
Autopsy reports determine that each of the victims was beaten to death with a hammer for motives still unknown.
There you go. So that's like a little over a minute, and it doesn't give away too much, and the short film's under 15 minutes. So it's like it must be tough to do a trailer for a movie that's that short.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot. Like a lot of people, even after that, were asking me to do a trailer for their films that are kind of similar, like kind of showing like the story without actually giving away any details, because like you said, when the film's only 15 minutes, it's hard to not give away details in a trailer. So I was just trying to be very vague, and I think it was kind of easy because there's the fact that there's not much dialogue in the film. The trailer ultimately ended up being the same way, so I think things being said or like, you know, little quotes and everything are mainly what, you know, give away. And the trailer is actually kind of meant to sway your view of the film going into it anyway. So it's actually good watching the trailer first before going into it, because it kind of, you know, sets you up.
Yeah, you think it's going to be one thing, and it's definitely not. Yeah, that's the thing, is if you watch the trailer, you think, okay, this is just going to be a low budget. There's a guy getting whatever, blah, 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 but watch it. It's you know, it's an easy watch. It's only 15 minutes. So it's a good time. And then if you like it, you can go rent it on Amazon and you'll get 4 cents or something. I don't know how much they give you.
Something like that.
Yeah. I actually heard Tubi pays out like pretty well. So I don't know if it's something.
Yeah, I heard about Tubi. That's something I was looking into.
There was the director from Don't Fuck in the Woods said that he's made more money off of Tubi than he's made off of Amazon, like by multiple times. So something, maybe try to get some stuff on there. People will watch it.
Tubi.
Yeah, I'll watch it again. Sorry, go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say, so with the because it is a small cast, and you said there's not much dialogue. Did you know the your actors beforehand, or was there like an open call, or how'd you do that?
Actually, no. I met them on these like Facebook groups. I like joined like different like Facebook groups, like Philadelphia actors and models and Philadelphia filmmakers and just stuff like that. And I just basically had an open cast call. Basically said, hey, shooting a short film. These are the 2 types of, you know, characters I'm looking for. And then a lot of people were commenting on it. I had them send me like video auditions. Nothing like specific, just like whether they had a video of like monologues or a demo reel, or even the ones that I really ended up picking were the ones that actually asked me for like some of the script and tried, you know, getting in that character. And it's actually funny because there's 2 different actors that was supposed to play you know, the bigger guy, the one, you know, holding the younger guy captive. So there's 2 completely different actors that were set up. One didn't want to do, like was signed like basically signed on at first, and then ended up saying that they aren't really comfortable with you know, something a little bit more violent or, you know, in the genre. And then the other one just had some like scheduling issues, so they ended up backing out last minute. And then the third guy, the one that actually ended up being in it, Mike, it was actually like I felt like it was all a blessing in disguise, because he ended up actually really filling the character out, and you know, even changing like I said, like shooting changed the script again too, basically just kind of swayed the story, but he kind of really filled the shoes of it wasn't even necessarily what I was like looking for. Like originally the idea I had for the character was kind of different and more, you know, intimidating, but he brought it to a more just like crazy, like I don't know, he just brought it to a different place than I originally wanted, but it ended up working for the best. And you know, he even just, what I kind of like to do is I like to give my actors autonomy, even like the cast and the crew, the people like shooting or whoever I'm working with. I like to give them like creative freedom and everything, because I think that really, you know, sells the character.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he ended up, you know, sending me a video with, you know, saying part of the script, and I was like, that's really good. And
that's
then
the dude,
What was that?
So yeah, that's because he I actually was thinking as he was at, like, there was a few scenes I'm like, I couldn't do that. Like I would be like, I'm like, it's crazy that they could, you know, like good actors can be so good. It's like, wow,
he actually won at the New Jersey HorrorCon. He won Best Actor too, so the film actually ended up getting 2 awards there.
That's awesome.
He got Best Actor and then got Best New Jersey Film. So yeah, he definitely deserved it, because he definitely did give a good performance. And even Emmanuel, who played the captive guy, he did a great job too. He really, he looked scared, which I think like that's like the main thing with, beginning filmmakers, and that's where I really lucked out with that, is because the actors were really good, and I think it was because I gave them that autonomy. I let them fill out the characters, so it kind of gave them, they wanted to leave their mark on the project. And I think that's, a lot of newer directors, they try going too hard to, fit a specific vision, which is hard sometimes to, kind of let go of. And you still obviously want to make sure your vision is being complete, but I would definitely recommend to any director to, give not even your actors, but with the guy Anthony that filmed it, he was with his camera. I originally had like certain cinematography storyboards that I had laid out that I wanted, and but I also told him, if there's any shots you see, like, feel free to get them. And that's where a lot of the more dynamic shots came from that really told the story in a visual way. So
yeah, there's that I was actually going to bring up that, because a lot of the cinematography actually helped push the story. I think there's one shot in particular that I was like, wow, that's a really good shot, where like he has the knife and it's coming from the back, and then like as it's coming around, then it like fades back in and it's the front of him. I'm like, I just really like that shot. I'm like, wow, that was just really
that wasn't even planned either. That's just something when I was in the editing room. I was like looking at these two clips, and it was just kind of hard. The transition was too jarring. And then I was like, let me try something, because like just like looking at the shots that I had, I was like, that's going to work perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shots like that. And some of the shots you'll never realize, but there's like a few shots that are actually used twice in the film because I didn't have enough coverage. And I just either like flipped them and to kind of make it like a little bit of a different feel, or just kind of cut it up in a way, or rotated the, just make it look, and like I did have to do some crazy editing on that to make certain things look right and flow together.
Now I'm going to have to go back and see if I can figure it out, because unfortunately I'm that kind of guy, but I didn't notice it at all while watching it. So that's pretty good. Yeah, this is one too. Like I have some friends that are filmmakers as well. It's just, I'm definitely going to be like, hey, check this out. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to see what you can do like with a feature as well. Is there any particular directors or movies that inspired you like to become a filmmaker, or yeah?
So that the whole like inspiration questions are always so hard, because there's always inspiration coming from like so many directions. Like, for instance, like you have someone like Edgar Wright, who I don't enjoy writing movies and that type of genre. I mean, he does kind of like, because I'm specifically like horror and thriller. That's for some reason the only genre I can really feel comfortable writing in. Like Edgar Wright isn't really that type of writer, but visually, like he's the inspiration for like how I want films to look, just the kind of like flow of the,
Actually, yeah. Now that you mention that, though, like I like some of the flowing shots. It didn't remind me of it, but I can kind of see that with some of the shots, like with Shaun of the Dead, where some of the stuff just like zooms in and like into something else. But yeah, it didn't come to my mind, but now that you mention it, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. So besides Edgar Wright, is there like is there anyone else that really just kind
visually
of
it's Edgar Wright, in more of like dialogue and story way, I really like Tarantino and Scorsese. The eeriness of like Alfred Hitchcock. It's the like that, and that's just of like directors and all that. But like the real inspirations for me come from like music and like just everyday, life. Like I'll be walking to like 7-Eleven or something and just hear like shouts and like the distance and everything. And it's like, I'm wondering what's happening there. And like, just like feeling the aroma of the world around me, like just feeling like what would fit good in like a story. And like, I'm always thinking of my life in like a story way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, whatever can inspire me will inspire me. So it's
totally off topic, but you mentioned walking to 7-Eleven and you're in Philly and you don't go to Wawa. I don't understand.
so it really depends what time of day. If it's light out,
Yeah.
I'll take a trip to Wawa. Wawa's a little bit far, so it's a little bit of a hike. The
Mm-hmm.
7-Eleven, it's literally like like 2 blocks down.
Okay.
So
There's
it's a lot
a couple
quicker, walking a lot
like
safer.
podcasts and radio shows I listen to with a bunch of comics that are from Philly, and they argue about Wawa all the time. Like they're trying to get a sponsorship and everything, and it's not working. But yeah, it's when you mention it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of blasphemous when it comes to Philly, but that's cool. So Sergio in the chat room is asking what your favorite horror movie is, and what movie scared you the most?
Oh, what movie scared? It really depends. Like right now, it's more like stuff that can really happen. So like serial killers and everything. But like I gotta say, just thinking of like movies that scared me the most, like when I was a kid, The Ring and The Grudge, like those two things, like I got addicted to watching horror movies when I was a kid because I enjoyed feeling scared and I like scarred myself.
Yeah.
And like I would have my sister walk me to the bathroom, like because we had to share a room at the time. We were on bunk beds, and like if it was like late at night, we had to go to bed, get ready for school in the morning or whatever. I'd be like, I gotta pee. Can you walk me to the bathroom? I don't want Samara to get me.
Yeah.
And what she would do, she would throw her hair in front of her face and try and get me when I walked out of the bathroom. So yeah.
Also, that answer also made me feel very old that you were a little kid when those movies came out.
Yeah.
Have you seen the originals, like the Japanese ones?
No.
No, really? You should. They're pretty quality. Like there's a lot more backstory to in The Ring, especially. There's a lot more backstory, and it's pretty good. There's a whole like series of like
Ringu,
Ringu, and then there's Ju-on is the Grudge. And he actually on Netflix they had the Grudge or Ju-on Origins, which is like a show. That's the Grudge TV show.
Didn't they have like Ringu meets the whatever, like
they had a movie, a Japanese movie where they met each other, and for promotion they were at a baseball game and he threw out the first pitch. The characters. Japan. You're crazy. But yeah, no, those movies are good, and they still have the creep factor. Like I'll be working and someone will say something and in the chat, and like all I have to do is take like the thing of the girl crawling out of the well, and people are like, oh my god, stop. And these are people that are like range anywhere from early 20s up to like their like 50s and 60s almost,
or even the Grudge, that freaking like gurgling sound.
Oh yeah,
it's like every time I hear that, it's like, ooh, okay,
it gives me chills. Like my hair starts standing up on the back of my neck.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously those are things that can't really happen, but like movies like The Strangers and even like You're Next, stuff like that, because that technically could happen, that I agree that's definitely more creepy. But yeah, for me, the first movie that really scared the crap out of me was probably Poltergeist when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, that used to get me too.
Yeah. Tony, you're a Killer Clowns guy, so that didn't really scare you. Though.
Yeah, well, at that point when I was growing up, it was more like horror comedy kind of deal, and then it went into the 90s hit, and it was like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer and stuff like that. Then in the 2000s was a Ring and stuff, but it kind of came in waves with me. I now that I've seen so much, it's hard to scare me. It's just because it's been recycled so many times.
Yeah, but like my favorite genre, it's always like my favorite like horror movie. It's like it's subgenres for all this stuff. Like if it's a weirder one, I have an answer. If it's like a Japanese one, I have an answer. Like it all depends on what kind of horror you're talking about. But I don't know. It's a tough one. Sergio asks that all the time, and it's a loaded question, Sergio. You're gonna one of these days someone's just gonna leave. It'll be your fault.
Now I have a question.
Mhm.
As I'm watching a short, did you model, the bigger guy around anyone? Because as I'm watching it, just especially not knowing, what the whole thing was about, but in the beginning, I'm like, this guy has like a Gacy feel, John Wayne Gacy, and I'm like, I wonder if he watches a lot of the murder mysteries or the serial killer documentaries. Because I'm sitting here, I'm like, he kind of has that like John Wayne Gacy feel to me in my head. So I don't know if you modeled it around any serial killer or was just
no, because especially because like I said, like the original thought, like I actually tried modeling this character off of like a more like a not I want to say like Michael Myers type, but like just like a big like brick wall of a guy. But like I said, the original actors I had, ended up falling through. So like he brought like that whole different like crazy John Wayne Gacy type feel. John Wayne Gacy. He like so. I don't know if he was exactly had anyone in mind. Modeling off of like how he was acting and everything, but yeah, originally he was supposed to be more of like a intimidating, like muscular kind of like wrestler type looking guy, and then when he came on, he brought this whole more like disheveled, like sick kind of, demented feel, which that's one of the things that I really enjoyed that he brought to the table. And I'll never regret giving actors that autonomy. So yeah, I'll actually have
that's actually like if it was like a big like jacked guy, I don't think it would have played as well.
That's what I'm realizing. Like that's the whole thing that you like that's why I say like you always have to be open to ideas and new things, and giving people like that those creative freedoms to kind of portray it in a new light, because sometimes you can be so attached to an idea that doesn't even make sense. Like there's even certain shots that I was like had in mind that I was like, this is going to look awesome in the film, I need this in the film, that I ended up just scrapping in the editing room just because it didn't serve the story well. So it's that's the biggest thing, is really just doing everything that serves the story and not holding anything too close.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of like especially like newer filmmakers, it may be a fault. It's like something where it's gonna. So there's movies that we love that took 5 years to make. Because they're perfectionists, and luckily some of those directors were able to get what they wanted to get done. But there's a lot of them that just don't. I can't even tell you how many times we've had directors and actors and actresses come on, and you talk about a movie that they're doing that sounds awesome, and that movie never comes out. It's like, oh, I've been hearing about this for years. Like, when's it coming out? Like, oh, they said maybe in the fall. It's like it's
in production limbo.
Yeah. Which kind of, I mean, it stinks. And then we have the other ones that are just doing the festival circuit, and that's it. Like, they never come out for like public viewing, except for if you want to go to a film festival. And it's like, come on.
Yeah, that's why like I'm still. I mean, New Jersey HorrorCon was, I think, the last festival I'm in, except for one more. I think we were in like a total of I think like 20 some over the past like year and a half. Like I still released it on YouTube because it's not like I'm submitting it to like Cannes Film Festival or like Sundance or anything. That's the only time it really matters. If you're they like to have it premiere there and everything, which is understandable, but for the most part, all the festivals that, I submitted to, it's not like there's any rules where you can't post it anywhere. I wanted to be available to anyone, so I posted on YouTube, but still went ahead with the festival circuit, and, while also working on the things like getting it on Amazon and all that. But I think, if you're going to be going to something like Sundance, then yeah, that makes sense. But
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot that, I mean, it's a weird thing. I'm kind of like up in the air when it comes to film festivals because a lot of them charge like a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's some people spend more money like on film festivals than they do on the budget making the movie, and it's like that's crazy, But it's, I don't know. It
The
seems
way
like
to get eyes on it.
counterproductive, But yeah, I mean, I like the idea. We've actually seen a few movies recently that have been like they release it on YouTube because they're just like, I just want people to see it.
Yeah.
Conventions aren't happening right now like they used to, so it's like I just want people to see my movie. So it's a good business card for you as well, And for anyone who's involved, like the actors killed it, and it's the visually it looked awesome. The music was good. Everything about it, I really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a full length feature, hopefully sooner than later. They said like in the spring, right?
Yeah. So in the spring, there's actually two features I'm going to be working on. One's my own, and after that, I'm going to be working on someone else's. The one that I have, it's actually a film. It's narrated by a ghost that's stuck in purgatory, and basically, there's this girl that grew up, you know, as her imaginary friend, and basically it's just about her trying to ditch this ghost, and he's very controlling and manipulative and everything, and it's just a very eerie film that dives into things like mental illness and existential crisis and coming of age, and just a lot of different things wrapped up into a psychological thriller that's made for people to kind of feel uncomfortable. And I'm kind of attacking it from a very eerie angle, so it's definitely going to be a fun thing to make with some of the ways we're thinking about going ahead with it. So that's something to definitely look out for. And,
Nice.
I'll be, starting to like promote it on my Instagram pretty soon. We're just trying to get some certain things lined up. But after that, I'm actually going to be directing a feature film for a friend of mine, Dev Sean. It's basically just a film about, some kids that find themselves with some, some types of abilities and everything. And, they kind of have this like secret society that they start getting involved in that, it's not really like a superhero film. It's more just like enhanced like human abilities that's more grounded in reality, like, super hearing and, just different stuff like that. So that's a pretty interesting one. But
yeah, I mean, it actually, I mean, there's other things like that, but I enjoy those. Like there's a show from the UK called Misfits. It's on Hulu, I want to say, and it's kind of like they're like in like juvie because they're all criminals, but at the same time too, they're doing like public service, whatever, and then like there's a storm and they get struck by lightning and then whatever. But it's I don't know, it's a just have it on while I'm working kind of deal. So it's whatever. It's fun, but I like that stuff as long as it's, not too over the top,
yeah,
flipping cars. But also too, with like independent movies, sometimes people really try to go outside of what's feasible, and that kind of makes you kind of lose the magic there when you're like, okay, you shouldn't have done CG here because you can't do CG, whatever. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, in independent filmmaking, it's all about subtlety and, these big, fantastic ideas. You can incorporate them in the film, but you can't make it a, main part. Like, if you want to do something super, like that's what was one of the things I was worried about before I went into this film. Like, I made sure he knew that, like, I can't do any of these crazy VFX and this and that. And he's very, he's attacking it in a very, the writer that is in a very grounded way that it'd make it easy to make, because like you said, like sometimes that can the coolest idea in a film, the most extravagant looking thing can, ultimately leave a bad taste in the mouth if it doesn't come off right. So you kind of have to be very subtle with those things. And
yeah, with the exception of if you're doing it on purpose and trying to make a joke out of it, like if you want to be like Tim Merrick or something and like have some like just something over the top bad, but but you don't want that. It'd be weird, after seeing that short. So how long did it take you to actually make the short?
So it took 2 days of filming and then about a month of editing. So it was actually pretty quick as far as short films go. And I mean, at the cost of not sleeping much, for the whole month I was editing and not being able to think of anything else, all that. I was lucky enough to have a boss that kind of, gave me certain days off because he knew what, I was trying to do and everything. So that helped a lot. But, yeah, so two days of shooting, a month of editing, and then, it was ready. The script took me, I mean, it was something I started writing a year before, but like I was just kind of like dabbling with the script, and the first script was completely different. And then, so over a year, I just kind of messed with the script because I'm the type of person that works on like a few different scripts at once, can't really, tie myself to one thing. So yeah, after that, after it was ready to be shot, finding the cast and crew and getting all that stuff was, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks plus 2 days plus a month is,
yeah. But
really
still, I mean, it's quality. I mean, at least and like you said, like we've heard some films take forever to get made.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a plus. I mean, sounds like you're on the right track.
Now you said you wanted to wait for some backing and some extra funds and stuff. Now, if you get funded, is there anyone that you like, actor, actress, or anything that you actually want to work with, like that you want in your movie that you like? I'd write this, role for them. Is there any like bucket list people? I guess.
So that's good. So in the feature film, there's a character that's not actually in the short film. It's actually Sebastian, the younger guy's father, who plays a pretty big part in the feature film story. As a, I don't want to give too. Yeah, I'm not going to give too much away, but I forget his real name, but the guy that plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know his real name either, but he's awesome.
Yeah. So that would be like, just, something I don't know. I haven't really put too much thought in that. Actually, a really funny thing to say about that. When I first tried casting the captor, I actually reached out to Robert Schaefer, who's Bob Vance from The Office.
Mm-hmm.
And by time I was finished shooting and editing, like I was halfway through the editing process, he actually eventually answered and said, "Yeah, sure, let me take a look at your script and maybe we'll work something out." And I was like, "Oh, it's too late," but it would have been so cool to work with Bob Vance from The Office because I'm an Office nerd.
Oh my god, yeah. It's you probably would take twice as long to film because you'd just be throwing like advanced refrigeration or whatever like comments at him. But yeah, that's pretty sick. Is he like local? Like he's from your area? Or?
Yeah, somewhat. I think he's based in New York, and I'm in Philly. So I told him I'd pay travel fees and everything, and whatever he'd charge for a day. It was more something I never thought would happen, but I was just kind of throwing it out there.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, that's one thing that comes up with the podcast. Like Tony brings it up all the time. Like people are like, "Oh, how'd you get this person?" Because we've had like Kane Hodder, we've had Felissa Rose has been on a bunch of times, Dee Wallace, and it's like, well, how'd you get them? And it's like we asked. That's all we did. They can either say yes or no. So if they say no, then all right, okay,
Well, I mean, sometimes they don't answer, but it's like you just got to try at that point in time.
Yeah.
It's just like put out it. Either way, if you don't try, it's not going to happen. If you do try and it doesn't happen, okay. But sometimes you put out a little branch and they're like, oh yeah, it'll be awesome.
Maybe
so
when
it's
when they want to promote something, they'll be like, oh yeah, what was that podcast that reached out to us? Like, I don't know. I mean, so that stuff happens. We have everything from first time filmmakers up to like who we consider like legends in the industry, legends to me anyways. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. And I'm excited. Like, I keep saying it, but I'm excited to see what you have coming up next. So again, on YouTube right now, what are they searching for? Is it just the title, or are you going to, because it's under your name, the channel?
Right? Yeah. So yeah, just searching up Springs County Psycho or my channel. I don't even know my channel name. I'm not actually.
I think it's literally your name. I think it's just
Chris. Oh yeah, Christopher Stem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I have some content up on there. Not too much or anything, but yeah, you can find Springs County Psycho on my YouTube account, Amazon.
So like I said, go watch it. You'll love it. And then when you do, go to Amazon and throw them a couple shekels. I don't know what that's or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, because you can rent it for 99 cents. So why not?
Yeah, right? I mean, it would definitely help break even, because the film was actually only made for $300.
Wow.
Yeah, which is and that was mainly just buying food and paint, because I was actually paid the actors too, which is pretty rare and new filmmaking. But that I figured if you pay them a little bit, they'll want to do a good job, in which they did. And then the film festival circuit actually is what costed me more money than anything. But yeah, I already had like all the like lighting and equipment and everything. I just hired 2 guys to act and 1 guy to film, and it's
pretty awesome.
Everything else I had and all the props and everything is
it's pretty great. I mean, it's I don't know, it's fun. I like seeing that part of it, like the whole production side of it. It's interesting to me. Like, I don't think I could ever do it, but I just like seeing the process, and I'm like,
yeah, it's a headache.
Well, yeah, but it's a headache that I think I would like.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, I know that I would just not be good at it, because I don't know, I don't have the patience, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely. You have to definitely deploy a lot of patience into, making any film, even if it's a 2-minute film. That's 2 minutes. You have to really wow someone. It's almost harder, because in a 15-minute film, I have this much time to, get an audience like, wow. Whereas in a 2-minute film, you really have to, make sure you strike a chord in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. I was a zombie in a episode of something that's going to be coming out. I don't know, in like a year, I think. But it was a really good time. But whenever they weren't filming, I was just cracking jokes. So I'm like, I know that I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I got to shut up, because I'm going to get yelled at. Like, I have to shut up. But I can't help it. But anyways, so yeah, we're just about done. As I rip my headphones off. Yeah, we're just about done. Tony, did you have anything else?
I was gonna say, being the director and the editor, did it make it easier? Did it make it harder? Being like, okay, now, like, did you direct it in a way to edit it easier, or how does it work? Because usually on certain films, you'll have a director and an editor is a different person. Being both, did you do it differently, or how did that work?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's actually something I wanted to talk about earlier, but I guess it's one of those things that just slipped my mind. But that actually helps, and not only budget wise, but just speed wise. Like, when I said I was able to edit in a month, I feel like if I had hired an editor, it would have probably took like 3 or 4 months, because they couldn't tell exactly what I wanted in the
your vision.
So when I'm in the editing room, I'm able to look at the whole film and really piece it together in the way that I want, the pacing. And there's like so many things, because like even with some of the performances, like there's certain like sentences that were perfect, but then the actor would like say something else that just didn't fit. and just being able to just kind of slightly cut things or like take out certain audios that I didn't want, or just knowing everything from the script to the being there when it was filmed to editing it, just being able to just fast track and turn into a well-oiled machine that can completely oversee the project on all ends is, makes it a ton easier, which is why I was probably so comfortable letting the actors do their thing and, fill the shoes, without directing them much, which obviously I directed them. I wanted them to, do certain things, but I'd mainly let them be those characters, even if it was a little bit different than, what I expected. I was comfortable doing that because I knew I had, control on all ends. And not that I want complete control of things, but, it makes the vision come out a lot more complete. And there's no, no disagreements in the editing room or anything like that. I definitely think
argue with it yourself.
Yeah. Well, I actually then scratch that because I argue with myself a lot in the editing room. This will look good. No, that'll look good. I don't know.
So Sergio obviously took a nap at some point because he's asking if there's a trailer. We already played the trailer, Sergio. So obviously you weren't paying attention. I don't know if wrestling's on or something, but so what we can do, Sergio, is if you go to the show notes, the link to the actual short is in there, so you can go to YouTube and check it out. So just watch the whole thing. It's only 15 minutes. But yeah, so thanks again for coming on. And just real quick too, are you going to be doing any kind of Kickstarter or anything for the new project, or are you just finding?
Yeah, it's not, it's not open yet, but it's probably going to be available probably in like the next month or two.
Okay.
We're just kind of figuring out a marketing plan and, everything and how we're going to attack it. So that's basically the next step. So
cool. So, and people can follow you on your Instagram to see updates on that. So what is where, besides Instagram, is there anywhere else that you post about your projects?
Honestly, I hate it because I'm not a huge social media person. So it's always that this question is always hard. Like anywhere, you can follow me and everything. I am most active on like Instagram. You can friend me on Facebook if you want, Christopher Stem. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too active on social media, but Instagram will have like all the stuff I'm working on.
And it's just is it Christopher Stem on
Instagram? It's Chris_Topher_S.
Okay. Cool. Actually, I think I searched you. I think I found you and tagged you in the post. I think if you put in your name, it'll come up as well, I think.
Yeah, because I do have my name in like my bio or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, Chris, or Chris_Topher_S. So
cool.
Yeah, I post like music videos and everything that I do. So there's more content than just like films and everything. There's a lot of different stuff like that. I do weddings and everything. So
that's cool. Yeah, nice. It's branching out, keeping you like keeping the cobwebs off your mind. That's good.
Bills paid. So
yeah, exactly. I wish I could do that. But anyways, so yeah, go follow Chris at on Instagram for updates on his upcoming projects. And Tony, where can people find you?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related. You'll find me there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which I do reviews and stuff, no twerking or anything like that. Yep. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. We have a Wicked Horror Show Instagram, which I'm trying to vamp up and do good. And then, of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show every Tuesday night, well, most Tuesday nights, with Kev, sometimes Wolfie, sometimes Angel. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, just A Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing this with Tony, I also do reviews on the audio side with the 13th Wolfman. And then part of Black and White Fright and Secret Underground Hideout, all of which are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. So go to thedorkening.com for information on all of those. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching / listening, and have a good night. Goodbye.
Very well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep. 1 second. I'm ending the broadcast.